Thanks for joining us for Fox 45 News Midday. I'm Patrice Sanders. Breaking news this morning. 2 people rescued from scaffolding dangling there following an explosion at the BGE building. The Firefighters Union is reporting evidence of an explosion on the 16th floor. Just look at this stunning video we captured this morning. Window washing scaffolding compromised because of the incident, and a window washing crew had to be pulled to safety by the fire department. We saw it happen live on the air this morning. Fox Baltimore also sent a chopper to the scene. Take a look at this video from above as the fire department responded to the incident. You can see all of the debris on the rooftop and the people there trying to figure out what happened. We've got team coverage right now. Alexa Ashwell starting us off. What are you seeing, Alexa?
Patrice, right now a very active scene. Fire crews going through the BGE building, making sure everyone is accounted for. We just received an update from officials 30 minutes ago. This is what we know. Around 8:30 this morning, there was a report of an explosion at this BGE building. We're told 21 people had to be rescued from the building, 10 transported to area hospitals, 9 in critical condition, 1 serious condition. The fire department says the cause right now under investigation. But according to BGE, construction work was occurring on the building's air handling and boiler system, which they say likely caused this incident. We're told a majority of the people were injured on the roof area. The roof to the 10th floor here at the BGE building impacted. Those 2 window washers you mentioned, Patrice, we're told they were on scaffolding and working, and they were in fact hanging on the side of the building and had to be rescued. The fire department detailing that just minutes ago. Take a listen.
Our members made the decision to actually bring them inside the building, I believe through the 10th and 11th floor. One of the individuals they were able to pull through pretty easily on the 10th floor. The other one, one of our members had to step out on the scaffold, climb up the scaffold, and bring him through the 11th floor.
And Patrice, when I first arrived here, I did see 2 workers being escorted into the ambulance. They appear to be okay. Again, 10 people transported to area hospitals, 9 in critical condition, 1 serious condition. And right now, also as a precaution, we're told the 2 neighboring buildings have also been evacuated as crews right now continue this investigation here in downtown Baltimore. Patrice, back to you.
All right, thank you, Alexa. Let's continue our team coverage. Joseph Ojo was the first at the scene this morning, been talking with us since then. What's changed since you first arrived, Joseph?
Well, Patrice, still a very, very active scene here along Fayette Street. From this time when we arrived here in the morning, we can still tell you very active around here. Still multiple crews here on scene. Let's take your attention to that scaffolding where this all kind of was the focus of the attention after the explosion and a partial roof collapse at this BGE building. So they were focused on the 16th floor, and when I first got onto the scene, we couldn't really see any smoke from the building. But the scaffolding at this moment is still hanging. We saw workers moments ago just kind of like wrapping up what they were doing. We also talked with a passerby who and people who work nearby who were just in awe as they just watched as these rescues were going on. There was 2 window washers who were trapped on that scaffolding, and there were a number of units who responded to the scene. Our cameras also captured several people being placed in the back of EMS trucks. In total, there were 10 people who were injured. 9 of them in critical condition and 1 in serious condition. Luckily, fire crews are saying that no one else was in the building at the time, which possibly avoided more injuries. But as you can see right now, back here on the ground, fire crews and BGE still out here remaining on scene as they wrap up this investigation here live in downtown Baltimore. That's the very latest here live in downtown Baltimore. Joseph Ojo, Fox 45 News.
Joseph, thank you. And Fox 45 is posting updates as soon as they come in. We're putting them on our website. We're also sending out push alerts on our app. You can download the Fox 45 app for your smartphone. Just search WBFF in your app store.
Are Baltimore County school buildings ready to handle the potential spread of COVID-19 when students return?
Project Baltimore's Chris Papps explains one county school nurse says not even close.
Project Baltimore has recently investigated complaints of mold in Baltimore County schools. Now, a school nurse says the problems that are causing the mold will also lead to additional problems with COVID. On November 11th, Baltimore County Schools released its revised plan to reopen. 96 pages of how to safely guide students back into the classroom. It covers topics like transportation, attendance, athletics, and academics. And this school nurse says parts of this plan are not realistic.
They came out with the guidelines. They submitted plans. All these plans were approved. All these wonderful plans.
As a longtime health professional, this nurse asked not to be identified for fear of retaliation and losing her job.
They're not even attempting to put things into practice that are on these plans, not even close.
This nurse points to page 72 of the reopening plan, which states every school has identified an isolation room. Students who develop symptoms of COVID-19 during the school day will be cared for in the isolation room until they are picked up by parents. The problem with that statement, according to this nurse, is that it's not true. She says her school, for example, does not have an isolation room that can meet the requirements. Many schools, this nurse says, don't.
I did a walkthrough yesterday to try to identify an isolation room, which we don't have in our school. Most of these health suites are old. They're not designed for airborne isolation. These buildings weren't designed at all with health in mind.
According to county schools, isolation rooms have to meet certain standards. They must fit at least 3 people who can socially distance. They must be near a restroom and a parking lot. And they must have good ventilation, which this nurse says is the biggest obstacle. As evidence,
this is mold. This is all mold.
The nurse points to recent Fox 45 News investigations that found concerns of mold growth not being properly addressed in school buildings.
We already have ventilation problems. That's evident. I mean, there's a big link here. If you're growing mold, you're not having proper ventilation. So how's that going to react to having COVID in the building?
Baltimore County Schools declined an interview with Project Baltimore, but said in a statement, when it comes to isolation rooms, BCPS and its schools meet all standards required by both the CDC and the Maryland State Department of Education.
We talked about ventilation systems. Our schools are old.
While Baltimore County tells Fox 45 News its schools are fine, just last week, state education leaders discussed how many schools need ventilation improvements before students can safely return to in-person learning.
We haven't been able to upgrade our ventilation systems. We have classrooms that have no windows. And so they can't open up the window to let some fresh air in.
This nurse agrees, saying many ventilation systems are not designed to handle airborne infectious diseases. And in Baltimore County, they're not being upgraded. Do you believe the health and safety of the students is the school system's top priority?
No, because if it were, we wouldn't be having this interview.
Do you feel like your child's school is ready for when they return to the classroom? Do you have a concern about the indoor air quality? We want to hear from you. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.